tired. You might feel a little tired if you've done some kind of fasting, if you've done some kind of a low carb diet, your cells should be somewhat used to this. If they're not, a lot of times what we're trying to do here, big picture, is reduce inflammation and reduce insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is when your cells become resistant to accepting insulin after being bombarded with sugar for so long that they reject it. That starts to push all the sugar into your bloodstream. And what happens? The body has to deal with it somehow. It pushes does anyone know what metformin does? What is the mechanism? That's a common medication that people get put on if they have type 2 diabetes. Metformin pushes all the sugar into the muscles. So although it lowers the blood sugar, it really just pushes it somewhere else. So you're not really fixing the problem again. You're fixing the symptoms of too much sugar in your blood. It pushes them into the muscles. Too much sugar in the muscles does bad for the muscles over time. And what do you think people get? Fibromyalgia, hypoxia, muscle cramps, and spasms. It doesn't fix the real problem. The only way to start to change the way our cells make energy is we have to shift our habits and we have to shift how we go about business. And so that's how it works. Unfortunately, doctors don't tell everyone how it works. Endocrinologists, and they just throw pills at people versus trying to find out what's causing their problem. That's what I can't stand. And that's why I started this group for many obvious reasons. The other reason I really started this group, my why, is that, I'm been a chiropractor for 22 years. I see all these people with problems. What happens? They do the same thing all the time. They come in with chronic back pain, chronic neck pain, chronic headaches. And what happens? No matter what you do, you can't get them better. And they always been coming back with the same symptoms because most of the symptoms that they have are due to inflammation, toxicity, which then causes mood problems, which causes memory problems, which causes sleeping problems, which we're going to go over on Saturday, how the gut health is related to brain health. Tired and fatigued, trouble sleeping, bloating and digestive issues, headaches and sore muscles. To me, that's the sensitive 7. They're the same things. They're the body's not getting the proper nutrients to the cells and are not making energy efficiently. So I'm going to try to share the screen here, and my screen should be under, let me get to my part where I can see where I'm at. Yeah, we want it to go to here. Yep. Okay. Here we go. Share screen. And this won't be as long tonight. Last night was a little long. It was the first one. I try to make this briefer than it was, but to the point. So does anyone have any questions before we start from the last time? And if you're listening to this on the live feed, you could type in the questions. I'll answer them later. If you wanted to get the live question and answers, you're going to have to come on the Zoom meeting. So just like we said yesterday, this is not a doctor-patient relationship. I do not treat, diagnose, or manage disease. You're doing this on your own. And if you have any concerns, you should consult with your primary care provider, MD, before proceeding. So lifestyle, habits, accountability, inflammation, and changing our lifestyle. Like, we are the inflammation nation. That's what we are. This is why this country statistically is one of the sickest industrial countries in the world. If you want to know, like if you're in the business and you would like to keep track of statistics, we take in almost 75% of the world drugs. We spend more money than the 15 healthiest countries combined. And yet on the industrial countries, we're 50th. So it would be like telling your boss, listen, I sold 1 million products last year. Well, how much money did you make? We're negative $200,000 in debt. Oh, really? But we sold all those products. Doesn't matter. You have no results. So we spend more money than the 15 healthiest countries combined for what? To be the unhealthiest country on the 50 industrial countries list. That's the problem. We don't got the results. And lifestyle, habits, accountability. I've been doing this for a while. Diet is important, but habits and lifestyle and accountability is what gets people things done. Notice how if you owned a company and you let all your employees do whatever they wanted, there's no consequences. There's no accountability. Some of them would do their jobs. Other people wouldn't. When there's accountability, people get work done. So success is 20% information, 80% accountability or action. Success also comes from making something simple and doing it consistently until it becomes a habit. Most people that I see in my programs that I run, the free ones as well as the paid ones, is people have bad habits and they have a hard time getting out of habits. They don't drink enough water. They don't know, they eat too much, they eat too often. They're used to getting snacks. It's almost like a habit to go to the snack cabinet after dinner when people start to get hungry and they want to watch TV. We got to get out of those habits. One of the ways I do that is reverse engineering willpower. When you don't crave food anymore and you can get rid of cravings because your blood sugar is now stabilized because you're using a different source of fuel and your insulin isn't going up and down, you don't crave food. In the beginning, that's hard to get to that point because your cells are craving energy. Once you shift the way you make energy and you start giving your cells a steady energy source, your body shifts and now it's not hungry anymore. And that could take, for some of you, it could take a week or two. For some of you, it could take 6 months to a year. Everyone's in a different place. This is what we're going to talk about tomorrow about biohacking is hacking into our biology, finding out what works for us versus just works for like a cookie cutter system. So tenets of this group, like I said, keep it simple. Done is better than perfect. We are all in this together. Be a strong finisher, not just a strong starter. And if you notice that some of these things are repeated, it's because if you hear things multiple times, you start to get it into your subconscious. When it becomes second nature, that's when you'll get more of the results done. And it becomes a habit. And it usually takes about 21 days to reverse a bad habit and 21 days to reintroduce a good habit to get it going. So I've built a program in some of my paid programs called the 42 New You, which is it takes about 42 days to really get into habits and accountability. Um, so testimonials. It's one thing for me to say this, that, and this works. Let my clients and people who've worked with me tell you how good my system works. It works because it's focused on building health, not on fixing symptoms. So these are just some testimonials I put up. This girl lost 30 pounds, never took actual measurements. The interesting part, brain fog decreased significantly, sleep better at night, more energy throughout the day, body heals from colds faster than when I started this. This is motivation alone. This gentleman, 44 pounds, 37 total inches off of him. Now, this wasn't in a 4-week program. This guy was sticking around for at least 3 months, but body fat down 18 points to 12.9. Now having rapid eye movement sleep, inflammation gone. This guy was taking Aleve and aspirin um, every day for the last 10 years. No need for it for the last 3 months. More focus, leading to more mindful, purposeful life. Um, this girl down 22 pounds, haven't had alcohol, in a great place, getting control back. Like food and the way life is doesn't control her. She controls her habits. Um, don't beat yourself up, keeping it simple. I try to do the drip method, just teach people little things every day that they can do to get advice and topics and how much that their body heals. This person, 30 pounds. Oh, they already did. I already did that one. My world has slowed down. Life doesn't seem to be coming at me so fast. How much better I feel burning fat, not sugar. Increased energy, mental clarity. Get See how it's repetitive? Mental clarity, increased energy, reduced inflammation. They came here for weight loss, but the real effects of this is mental focus, improved memory, mental clarity, more energy, reduced inflammation, and of course, better mindfulness. So, consistency over intensity, done is better than perfect. Persistence. The only way you lose in this game is if you give up. And that's what happens with a lot of people is they look for bright shiny objects to start and they do something for a little while and it doesn't get them results and they do the best way to get long-term results is to stick with something and then have ways to measure if it's working or not and then make changes along the way but stick with some kind of a plan versus being all over the place. My plan is we drink more water every day. We work on inflammation, eating foods that decrease inflammation, that are more alkalizing, minerals. Healthy fat reduces, it gives you back, it to metabolize healthy fat, it's like 20 to 30 times less inflammation, and it gives you back 2 to 3 times the amount of energy production in your mitochondria. Mitochondria are the little parts of the cells that make energy. So what we're targeting here is the little power plants in the cells that make energy, and we're gonna make them make energy more efficiently. 1 gram of sugar that goes through an energy cycle called the Krebs cycle and making energy produces about 42 to 43 energy molecules called ATP. 1 gram of fat produces about 150. So you could see that it produces way more energy, which is where your mental clarity and your focus, parts of your brain and body will not fire up and work unless you have enough energy. And your body's very smart. What it will do, it'll shut down parts. So your basic brain that makes digestion and heartbeat and all that stuff will work, but the higher memory, consciousness, imagination, creativity gets shut down. Why? Because if the brain doesn't have enough energy, it won't do it. We're trying to reverse engineer some of this. So I like to keep things simple: problem, solution, system, and then accountability. So the problem, people struggle with diet, intermittent fasting. They struggle exercise consistently. They struggle drinking enough water. They don't eat enough vegetables. They don't take any supplements. Um, they struggle with mindfulness and stress. They don't have a system. Like me, I like to wake up early in the morning around 4:30, 5 o'clock. And that's my personal development time from like 5 to 6:30, 7 o'clock when my kids wake up. That's when I get my power hour in, my exercise, my meditation, my journaling, my thoughts for the day. Then I go to work. That's my work time. I come home and I come home till like 8 or 9 o'clock. That's the family time. And then 9 to 12 o'clock for me is like my business productivity time. So you have systems. And the problem is people don't have systems. They're all over the place. So part of the reason I created this program for the 5 day health, like free health program, as well as my other ones, is that my patients weren't holding their adjustments. They're not staying in alignment. They feel better, but their problems keep coming back. They keep having the same problems over and over. And it really stinks to work on somebody over and over and over and not get to the root of the problem. So you either have reasons or results. I'm having hats made. These are the logos that I made, is reasons or results. So you either have reasons why something didn't work, or you have results, which is results that work. Most people know what to do. The problem is they're not doing the work. Factors in losing weight, hormones, the quality of food, genetically modified organisms, how healthy your gut is. Here's a little secret: you're not as healthy as what you eat. You're as healthy as what you absorb. Why do you think that people that eat healthy diets and then can never lose weight, or you notice that they can never build their health? What's their problem? It's their gut. Their gut's not processing the food, breaking it down and absorbing it. So technically, your mouth, from your mouth to your butt, is a tube that's external to your body. When it gets absorbed through the intestinal walls, that's when it becomes part of the body. So basically, you have a tube called your digestive system that's considered external to from your body. So you're not as healthy as what you eat. You're as healthy as what you break down and absorb. What we're trying to do is, by reducing our sugar intake, working on supplements and foods that are friendly to the gut, we're trying to bring down inflammation, allow increased absorption of nutrients. And what happens when you have increased nutrients? You crave less food. Why? Because your body's happy. Why do you think your body craves? Because it's lacking something. It's either lacking nutrients, the sugar's not getting into the cells, and it's affecting the hormones. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to make the body happy and listen to what it's saying. If it's hungry all the time, it's either you're not eating enough, which is not the case in most people, or it's not getting to where it needs to go to do the job at the cellular level. We're trying to reverse engineer. So hormones, food quality, genetically modified organisms, gut health, toxic environment, your outside environment, being around toxins all the time. If you're if you work at the boatyard and you're putting on, toxic marine paint all the time and you don't have a hazmat suit, eventually you're going to get sick. If you're working around asbestos and toxic materials and arsenic and diesel and gas when people used to pump gas all the time without ventilation, horrible. Um, Habits, mindset, and accountability. That's another big thing. We need to get into healthy habits, mindset, and accountability. That's the daily check in. My daily check in and my bigger groups are longer check ins. We do not only water and intermittent fasting, but we do like exercise. We do journaling, meditation. We go over things like the happy, the crappy, the accountability, and the praise. It's almost like a mini journal every day of checking in to be held accountable for doing the work. And that's what gets people results is consistently doing the work. So in this 5 day, like let's say you did this for a week or 2 weeks or three, you might not see some of you might gain weight. Why is that? Because as your body starts to burn fat, you release toxins in your fat cells. Because here's another thing. Your body's super smart. If it has toxicity, where's it going to store it? In places that don't bother the rest of the body. So instead of storing it in your heart and in your adrenals and in your organs, it's going to store it in your fat cells. And what happens when you start shifting and burning fat? It's going to release a lot of those toxins into the bloodstream and into the body. What happens? Your body retains inflammation to dilute it. You gain some weight initially. That's not the purpose of my program is not just to lose weight. It's to use fasting as a tool to detox and bring down inflammation. So, since we're the inflammation nation, what are some of the things that cause inflammation? Diet, too much sugar, uh, foods that are processed too much. From what I've read, even things like protein powders and micro processed things could still have insulin responses, which can break fast because you don't see powders growing outside in trees. We want to have real food. We want to eat things. So we're trying to hack into our biology a little bit. Um, and some of the other things that cause inflammation is thoughts, mindset, worrying about things all the time, not having a clearly stated purpose and a plan for a day. Uh, you know, if you want the key to having what you want is knowing what you want. Clarity is the key to everything. When people have visions, when Henry Ford had a vision of where he wanted his company to be, some people took him as arrogant. I don't think he was arrogant. He had a plan and he stuck with it. And he was going to do whatever it took to be successful. And some people looked at that as, oh, this guy's arrogant. No, he was successful and he had a plan and he stuck with it. So having a solution or a system to build health is what my plan is. My purpose is to help as many families as possible towards optimal health through natural chiropractic care and healthy lifestyles. When I'm doing that, I'm on purpose. That's why I started these programs. That's why I started my podcast is to help people guide them towards health and cut through the BS, cut through all the other crap. So you either have reasons or results. Which ones are you? That's one of my favorite statements, and that's my podcast, The Healthy Wealthy. That's why is you either have reasons or results. And which one are you? You either have all these reasons why something didn't work, or you have results. So there's two problems. So the problem is that people have trouble losing weight, which is getting healthy. And the other big problem that people have is keeping it off or staying healthy. And the real problem is staying on track long enough for it to work and having healthy habits long enough for your body to heal. And that's having accountability and systems. So your level of success will or failure will be based on how many contradictions you have and how bad they are. If you want to be more successful in your business, you want to be more successful in your life, start removing contradictions, things that don't serve you. What happened to me is that I'm a chiropractor, I'm a health doctor. About 10 years ago, I'm in my office. I was working up in Boston where John probably lives and Howard. And in 1 week, two people came up to me and said, "Hey, Dr. Brian, I know you talk a lot about health, but it looks like you've gained a lot of weight." And I was up at like 235, 240 pounds. I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning because I had to be in Boston at 7 o'clock every morning. I was working in my dad's office here, and I was working up in there on Monday mornings, all day Wednesdays and Thursdays, and every other shift I was working down in my office. I was trying to hustle and make money to buy the house that I wanted to get. but I was burning health at both ends. I was getting on the road early because I didn't have time to eat breakfast. I was eating at Starbucks. I was going out for lunch in between because I was coming home. I didn't have time to make my lunch. And what happened is I started contradicting who I was, which was a health doctor. I should be healthier than my clients are. I should be more energized. People should come to me and say, "Well, how come you have so much energy all the time? What are you doing?" That hit me like a ton of bricks, and I'm like, "You know what? It's time to get back to health because I was healthy when I was younger, but I think that I was naively healthy. I was skinnier, but I wasn't healthy at the cellular level. I was in my late 20s and early 30s from college. I thought it was just aging older. When we get into those 30s and 40s, when you start to have, at the end of the day, you're exhausted, you're tired, you don't know, you don't have the focus. I think part of that in the 30s is that you're establishing a career. You're not sure if you're going to get married or not, if you're going to have a family or not, how many kids you're going to have, and the energy it takes to do that in between your 30s and early 40s sucks a lot of energy out of you. And you worry about, can I afford a house? Can I have this? And that's where a lot of the energies get sucked out. And then you start to think, well, it's just normal to be tired all the time. It's not. It's common, but not normal. Don't mistake the two. It's common to be exhausted all the time. It's not normal. There are ways to hack into your system to get better sleep. A lot of people have sleep apnea. They don't breathe properly. They got hypoxia. They got low oxygen levels because their blood's toxic. It's not binding to oxygen, and they're not getting the energy production properly. And their cells are not making energy properly, so they're producing toxins. And if you start making energy without the use of oxygen, which is called anaerobic, if you have too much lactic acid and inflammation, your body starts to make energy very inefficiently because it's not getting enough oxygen. What happens? You produce a ton of lactic acid. Lactic acid needs to be diluted with water. What does that cause? Inflammation. There's where your inflammation problem is. And the other part of where a lot of your inflammation comes from is microbes and in the microbiome, which is your gut health. When you get parasites and bacteria and viruses that get caught in there that start to eat all the sugar that your body has, here's another thing that causes cravings. Sometimes the bacteria that gets into our gut from taking Tums, like, all right, let me tell you a little bit how the stomach works. The stomach's supposed to sanitize what enters your body. So when you eat food, you're supposed to sanitize it with hydrochloric acid in the stomach. It's like spraying like Clorox to kill all the bacteria and then allow it in. What happens with a lot of people? They get acid reflux. So what do they take? Antacids, Tums, or they drink a lot of water with their food to wash it down. What are they doing? Diluting their stomach acid. So what are you gotten? A diluted stomach acid. You're inviting all this bacteria and junk that's in the food to come in, and then it gets into the intestines and it says, I'm in heaven. I got an unlimited practical food supply. This fool that I'm stuck inside loves sugar. And I got a warm environment that he's feeding me my favorite food, which is sugar all the time. Why would he want to leave? And that's why people get bloated. That's why people get toxic. And then what people don't realize is that, and I'll go over this more on the next program, is a lot of the bacteria in your gut help like convert neurotransmitters into usable. So you eat a lot of proteins, Those get amino acids get converted into neurotransmitters in the gut. A lot of them. And that's where gut health is connected to mental health. If you look at anyone who's got anxiety and depression and mood problems, they almost always have gut problems. And that's their problem, is that their guts, a lot of your dopamine that's used by your brain, which is your feel good chemicals, all get stored in your gut. And it's created in your gut. So if your gut's swollen and bloated and full of the wrong bacteria, it's not making those feel good chemicals. What are you doing? You're trying to crave sugar and stuff to feed those. And the bacteria actually cause you to have some cravings in your body. That's what makes you crave more sugar. When you start going longer periods of time in the intermittent fasting of not eating and going lower carb and healthier fat, fat actually blocks the multiplication of a lot of these viruses and bacteria. They block viruses from multiplying. Maybe that's why people with low carb diets don't get sick as often. So you got to start removing contradictions. And you have to have a system, daily check-ins. So just checking in with the intermittent fasting and water, some of you are getting out of your healthy habits. Doing daily check-ins, accountability. You're with like-minded people. Your mindset's starting to change. And what are you doing? You're accomplishing something. So every day that you accomplish something, you're getting the brain reward cascade, which is you're making more chemicals that make you feel good. It's building self-esteem and confidence. And then you need balance in the physical. You need to get enough rest, quality rest. You need to get some exercise to balance. Chemical, what you eat, drink, and breathe. If you could smell the air, it's probably not healthy for you. You need to drink enough water, and you need to eat foods that are friendly for your gut and for your cell metabolism. And then emotional, what you think about. I'm not going to dwell on that a lot, but what you think about, you need to build a strong foundation. You can't build if you're building a building, and let's say you got the physical, the chemical, the emotional, or the exercise, rest, what you eat, drink, breathe, and think are six pillars. They need to be built up to have a good foundation, and you need to build a strong foundation, and that's how you build a healthy lifestyle. You can't do too much. A lot of people have a lot of pain and suffering in their life. So what do? They exercise 2 hours a day. Eventually they get hurt and now they're depressed because they can't go on exercise. Why were they exercising? To get rid of the pain because they didn't want to deal with something in their life. That's where the emotional stress comes in and the mindset of letting things flow versus forcing things to come to you. I I've worked with a lot of accountability coaches. I've had my own coaches. I'm looking to build more programs. I'm going to build some chiropractic. I'm going to build some corporate health wellness programs for people to do that if they wanted to work with me and corporations and build a system like I've built in here to help build employee productivity, less sick time, less workman's comp, better focus. You can get productivity comes from and is an inside out thing. Success in business, just like success in your life, is an up, down, inside out. It comes from the leadership at the top down, and it comes from the inside out, not from the outside in. You need to be healthy on the inside, and then it spreads on the outside, just like a company. It's not you need to get more things from the outside. You need to make the insides healthier. That's how to make things work. So, what you eat, drink, exercise, rest, breathe, and think, 90% of success comes from the 6 inches between your ears. It takes at least 21 days to break a bad habit and 21 days to introduce a new habit. That's the 42 new you. You need to set targets, not goals. I like targets. Why? Does anyone know why I would set a target versus a goal? Because goals, if you set a goal for 50 pounds, let's say, when the goal's over, why do I have to do the work anymore? Targets are like a sniper. I set my eye for a target. I hit it. What are you doing? You're looking for the next target. Now you keep going. And what happens is when you start setting targets in life, it's like you're not done yet. So what does that make your mindset? You're not going to give up. You're not going to just stop where you are at. You keep setting new targets so you can become more successful in your business, in your personal life, and whatever you're doing. So mindset has to shift from short term to long term. That this isn't a 5-day program. This isn't a 4-week program. This is a lifetime program. I want you to be healthy. I want to get messages from, whether you decide to work with me or not in the future. I would like to get messages in 5 or 10 years from now. Hey, Brian, still doing great, doing awesome, man. Thanks for your help. Like those are the kind of messages I love to see is long-term success that people are killing it and they continue to do it. And next thing you know, they're starting their own business. They're learning to play musical instruments. They're really being more productive in their life because they've got momentum and they keep on it into a lifetime. And what you do between 20 and 50 years old kind of determines the quality of a life from 50 to 80 years old. And a lot of people, this is another reason why I started this, they don't take care of their health when they're in their 20s to 50s. They start to get degeneration, inflammation, toxicity. They start to get pulled muscles that starts to wear out their joints and they start to need hip replacements. They start to have all these other things. And now it's too late. And they spend they make a lot of money in their early ages from 20 to 60. And what are they doing? They're spending all their money or their quality of life trying to buy their health back and their quality of life back. And it's almost in some cases, it's almost too late. It's never too late, but you're not gonna get the level of, like, if you wanna have a chance to live to 100 years old and enjoy the world and see what the world has to offer at 100, you gotta start early with a plan. That's what I'm trying to teach here. So, the nervous system and adaptability. I'm a big fan of the nervous system. Everything I do is built on making the nervous system healthy. When you have less toxicity in your body and less inflammation, your nervous system runs better and you become adaptable. That's the key word of everything that I do is adaptability. Reprogramming the nervous system to perform better, to heal, to function. You know, a lot of the way the nerves get energy is through the cerebral spinal fluid of of the spinal cord in the brain, which is from nutrients that flow in from lymph glands and movement of the spine, which is why it's important to get adjusted to keep your nervous system healthy and to work on things like chiropractic, healthy fat, gut health. I don't know if anyone knows what a polyvagal theory is. Anyone ever heard of that? It's basically like, I'll keep it simple, but like four-step breathing, things to work on. Like your nervous system has two main parts, the flight part, which is the emergency, and the parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest, the healing part. They both can't be on at the same time. So there are the lifestyle choices and habits I teach is how to balance the nervous system, which is like breathing, healthy fats, different biohacks, which reduce inflammation and relax the body so it can perform better. And most functions are memory. We're trying to get these memories and balance. Balance is the key to success. So this is going to be tomorrow, hacking into our biology to see how it works for us. This is going to be a good one tomorrow. We're going to keep this simple tonight. And getting into habits is important. So whether, whatever you're doing, stick with it long term. Look at this as a 6 month or a 1 year or a 5 year plan and try to see where you want to go with your life. What do you want from this? What is your why into this? Like what is your end product? I want to be able to play golf. I want to be able to run a 5K again. I want to have, $500,000 in the bank when I'm 60 years old. Like whatever your end product is, how are you going to get that? Well, you have to have a healthy lifestyle. You have to have a healthy body. You have to have a healthy nervous system. You have to get enough rest. You have to exercise. You have to move. You have to eat the right foods. You have to be hydrated. All these things are your why. That's what keeps you on track in the long term. And let me see if this is so that's enough for there. I'm going to stop the share right there. And I'm going to open it up if anyone has any questions. If not, we are done for the night. I know it's a little bit late. I don't want to keep everyone around. I want to make this short and sweet. Tomorrow at 10, I'm doing my biohacking presentation on hacking into our biology, how we're all unique individuals and what works for one doesn't work for another, and variations of that, of how we can start to measure how our body's functioning and if something's working for us or not. That's what biohacking is all about, like measuring pH levels. And there's heart rate variability and different things we can measure to see if our body's functioning well. And if you're listening into, I should have said this in the beginning, but in some of these, you don't have to listen to the whole Zoom. Some people listen to them like podcasts afterward. They put them on in their car and their phone, and they just listen to the recording so that they could, you know, listen to it while they're in their car. And there's also you could speed up. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna do a little video on how to show you how to speed up videos and watching them if you're watching this on the replay. I'll show that at another time. So unless I'm gonna keep it on for a second, I'm gonna stop the live stream on the thing. If anyone has any questions, keep them in the live feed or on here, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. And I shut off the recording now. Boom.